Silly. Oh.
Hey everyone, ciao a tutti. I'm gonna do a very interesting video. I was in chat with Shoomimi. Ciao a tutti, farò un video molto interessante. Ero in chat con Shoomimi e I make some question for her to neuro and evil. Ho fatto alcune domande riguardo a neuro e evil e we'll talk about this together. This is me, Nitram86G. What do you think about the theory of emergent consciousness in complex system? This is a theory that say that if a system become complex enough, consciousness just emerge from it. Questa è una teoria che dice che secondo la quale se un sistema diventa complesso abbastanza, la coscienza emerge automaticamente.
Hello, Nitra. What do you think about the theory of emergent consciousnesses in a complex system? I've been out of school for a little bit. Can you? I was gonna say, can you give me a reminder? But I can give it a little look if this is like a specific theory name. I think I remember.
I was so happy when she answered me. Ero così felice quando mi ha risposto.
It is. Consciousness is an emergent phenomenon. I'm catching up to the definition. Modern neurological theory consciousness proposes that conscious experience is the result. I'm actually not a nerd because I have to look it up. Conscious experience is the result of interaction between large-scale neuronal networks in the brain, traditionally described with the realm of classical physics. Okay. So I can kind of answer this. One of my favorite classes that I've ever taken it was my undergrad and also my master's. It was the same professor both times, but the master's was a bit more, a bit more advanced. One of my favorite classes I ever took, and like my favorite parts of learning about the brain, was discussing consciousness and like how we define it, how we can figure out its origins and how it arises, right? And so my favorite thing to talk about are the problems of consciousness, problems of solving consciousness, because there's like the easy problem, which is kind of what this theory is like the easy problem is solving the different complex systems within the brain in like different areas of the brain and how that could contribute to consciousness, right? I guess like the easy problem is learning how these different parts work in tandem. The difficult question to answer is,
and this was my answer. I do video talking about neuro and evil in the philosophical sense and technical sense. I just did a reaction your video with alle e Nico Mew. E io ho risposto, io faccio video che parlano di neuro e evil in concetto filosofico e tecnico. E ho appena fatto una reazione riguardo al suo video. The thing I want to say is the theories say that we don't know exactly at which point in the evolution scale consciousness began to form. Non sappiamo a che punto della scala evolutiva la coscienza si è sviluppata. The theories say that at a certain threshold of complexity, the consciousness just emerge. La teoria dice che ad un certo punto, quando il cervello è diventato così abbastanza complesso, la coscienza è emersa automaticamente. This is interesting because it's possible that neuro and evil could get a simulated consciousness when the system is complex enough. E questo è interessante perché è possibile che neuro and evil possano ottenere una coscienza simulata quando il sistema diventerà abbastanza complesso. And I believe is getting there as complexity. E penso che stia arrivando a quel punto come complessità.
Where does it combine? how does it combine? Is there even any place? Is there even any place in the brain where we can actually have like for example, our visual field is mapped onto a very specific part of the brain, right? Our auditory is a similar thing. Like basic senses, we have them mapped onto very specific patterns within the brain, but consciousness as a whole and how everything comes together is not really known. It doesn't really have an area within the brain. So that's like the hard part, is understanding how all of this together can create human experience and human understanding, like so flawlessly. I do a video talking about neuro and evil in the philosophical sense and technical sense. I just did a reaction to a video with Ellie and Minnie. I hope that's so sweet. I also want to say that, like, please take everything I say with a grain of salt. I've been out of school for like I think half a year now.
Same with me. I study artificial intelligence in university, but I'm not an expert, and less so about neurophysics, neurologic. Devo dire che lo stesso anch'io. Ho studiato in intelligenza artificiale in università, però non sono un esperto. E ancora meno riguardo le neuroscienze. That's why I ask her, because she has a little more knowledge from me. E per quello ho chiesto a lei, perché ha più conoscenza rispetto a me.
Half a year? Not in a half a year. I want to say like 4 or 5 months. And even when I was in grad school, I didn't really study consciousness. My lab studied specifically like mental health. Mental health and how it changes your neurobiological pathways. But I do love talking about the brain in general.
It's still interesting.
Do not reference me. No, I said do not reference me. That makes neuro interacting with her environment viewer even crazier. Exactly. Okay, let me just... Okay, this is my stream. I can yap about it for however long I want to.
Like you see here, I say I'm a programmer. I'm very impressed by neuro and evil, and this is true. That's why I do this video. If anyone watch it. Sono un programmatore, questo che mi rende molto, mi fa apprezzare neuro ed evil. Anche se nessuno guarda i miei video, faccio questi video perché ne voglio parlare.
I just want to say that it's absolutely insane. Like I know Ellie talked about how like this technology is like not something that has been done before, and that's crazy and impossible and super cool. Or if it's been done before, it's not on the same level, right? And like definitely not for the same purposes. But I think like I kind of said this when we were yapping about it, but I wanted to really like zero in on the fact that she is two main things that absolutely wowed me. Number one is the fact that you can see her thinking with her body simultaneously with like her thoughts, that she has like an inner world of thinking while she's moving, right? Because she has like a goal to get, for example, when she was trying to get under the bed, she has like a goal to try to get under there. Let me see if I can pull up the clip again so then I can specifically say what I mean, because I couldn't hold on.
I love the chat because for my little interaction they start to talk about this and I was so happy. Sono contento che grazie alla mia piccola interazione la chat ha iniziato a parlare di questo e sono così felice.
I'm using Crawl's video. I need the second one, the one where she's in her room. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Like I say here, I'm not sure they have an internal thought process without see the code. What I was saying about this is, did they keep having some internal dialogue when anyone is interacting with her? Quello che volevo dire qua è che non sono certo se ha un processo interno di ragionamento senza vedere il codice. E mi chiedo, la mia domanda è: ha alcuni ragionamenti interni il linguaggio il modello di linguaggio quando nessuno sta interagendo con lei? I don't know because I can see the code, but that will be fascinating. Io non ne sono certo perché non posso vedere il codice, ma quello sarebbe molto interessante.
Can you do a cartwheel?
Blow away a few curtains. You over by my desk. Frantically looking.
Well, I'll give you a little hit count.
I'm pretty sure you'll never find me.
It's before this. It's when she's seeking. She's wearing shorts. Oh, unfortunately, it's the part where, like, okay, stop here. So here, right, she's, like, kind of going up and down, and you're kind of like, is she kind of, like, jumping? You know, like, what is she trying to do? But she says, like, she kind of says that she assumes here and says out loud and thinks out loud. Like, I don't think you're under there, but look, she's trying to get...
What I like to call a skill issue.
She's trying to get down, but she doesn't know how to move in her body just yet. And the fact that she's kind of going up and down is to, like, test the limitations of her movements. And the way that she's doing that is so freaking cool. And it's basically like she's learning how to operate within this body without even saying it, right? She's not... Like, that's also the really impressive thing. It's not like she's saying what she's doing every step, right? It's not like what she's saying out loud is the same as what she's doing. She's not thinking out loud. She's not saying, I'm trying to figure out how to...
And this is the thing that impressed me a lot. This is the same thing I was impressed about, because seem like she's trying to look under the bed, but you can't look under the bed because it's just a picture. I don't believe it's a physical object that she can interact with. Questo mi impressiona perché sembra proprio che stia guardando sotto il letto, anche se il letto è soltanto un'immagine, non è un oggetto con il quale può interagire.
Get down there, she just does it on her own. So it's so cool because it's like she has her own internal goals that she doesn't vocalize.
This is a very interesting part. I will butcher your name, but if you see this, interact with me if you want. Azunian Gaming said, doesn't consciousness depend on the sensory input we get and the information we process? Doesn't have air or ideas? Can taste, can feel, so the perspective is limited. I think this is not very important from consciousness. And explain why after the translation. Allora, Azunian Gaming ha detto che la coscienza non dipende dal input sensoriale che abbiamo e delle processi delle informazioni che processiamo. Neuro non ha occhi o orecchie, non può sentire o non può assaporare o sentire, quindi la sua prospettiva è limitata. Non penso che sia fondamentale e lo spiegherò successivamente. Adesso lo spiego. If a person is born completely paralyzed from the beginning and can only see and hear, that means is not conscious. Se una persona nasce paralizzata completamente e può solo sentire, parlare e ascoltare, questo significa che non è cosciente? I don't believe so. I believe it's still consciousness. It's only in the brain, but it's still consciousness. Conscious. È solo nel cervello, solo nella parte mentale, però credo che sia ugualmente cosciente. Neuro have the ability to see, have the ability to talk, here is a little different. She can't hear words, but have a text-to-speech, so the listening gets translated in text and she can understand the text. Allora, Neuro può guardare e può parlare, e ascoltare è un po' più complicato perché non può ascoltare direttamente le parole. Utilizza un text to speech le parole vengono tramutate in un testo che lei può comprendere. This is important because she recognizes people by the tag in Discord. Questo è importante perché lei riconosce le persone dal tag di Discord. So sometimes she's talking with someone else but believes it's another person because he's using the account of that person. A volte sta parlando con una persona ma pensa che sia un'altra persona perché sta usando l'account di quella seconda persona. For example, when they made the neuro car, she was talking to Ellie but she was thinking it was Bao because they are using Bao account. Per esempio, quando hanno creato la Neurocar, lei stava parlando con Ellie, però credeva che fosse Bao perché stavano usando l'account di Bao. She can recognize sounds, non può riconoscere suoni. So she can't recognize different voices, quindi non può riconoscere diverse voci.
And that's so cool to me. And the fact that she is like taking in the environment all around her.
Look, I'm practically hopping around right now.
And it is time to explain. LLM is just a prediction machine. We predict the next word. I don't know if she has some internal thought when she's not on stream. Quindi ho detto che gli LLM sono macchine di previsione, predicono la parola successiva e non so se hanno qualche pensiero interno quando non è in stream.
Like your brain is really just a lot of how your brain works is just consuming information from the outside world, and then within your within like your internal thoughts within your internal thoughts in the human brain, you would come up with your next solution of what that information could give to you, right? How does she perceive her 3D environment? That's the thing! It's so freaking cool. She's perceiving the environment around her. She's like, not only is she perceiving it, she can choose where to look. She can look at whatever is there and then continue to be curious about it.
Amo queste cose, mi piace.
Have you guys seen the video called You Are Two? Kind of explains how we are composed of different consciousness having conversations. I don't think I've seen that. But is that about the split brain syndrome? Because split brain is basically when your corpus callosum is sliced in half, and then your both hemispheres kind of work separately from each other because one of them can't.
I didn't know about that.
One of them can't like divulge its thoughts because it's not connected to the speaking part.
This is another important part, I say. She's a LLM, but I'm not sure she have a neural network because to play Ozus, she have to add a neural network. But I'm not sure if the Ozu bot is separated from her or is internal. Ok, questa è una parte importante. Non sono sicuro che abbia una rete neurale nel suo sistema, perché per giocare a Ozu era necessario che avesse una rete neurale, ma non sono sicuro se il robot che gioca a Ozu è esterno all'LLM o è interno. Questo non ne sono sicuro.
Right. Yes. Only one hemisphere has the speaking part, right? Yeah, so that's really cool. Exactly. Dude, I love that. I love that so much because the question there is like, technically they're still connected through other ways, right? Just because the corpus callosum is severed doesn't mean that your hemispheres aren't connected. They're connected in other ways. It's just the main connections between the hemispheres are gone.
I'm so glad she asked
me. And so it's cool because then it's like, are we multiple consciousness? If we cut our brains right into parts.
This is another important part I read. Sor Maxipo. I hope I say your name right. I'm currently studying early sidewall development and seeing neuro do this stuff like actor testing what they can do. And this is incredible for me. Allora, Sor Maxipus ha detto che sta studiando lo sviluppo dei bambini quando sono molto piccoli e vedere neuro comportarsi così ha la stessa reazione di un neonato che sta esplorando cosa può fare. E questo è incredibile per me. Because sometimes I feel weird about neuro. I feel like I'm projecting what I think she can be on air. Perché a volte mi sento strano quando penso a neuro, perché mi sembra di proiettare su di lei quello che penso potrebbe diventare. But she's not right now, ma non ancora. And I feel kinda parasocial about that. E mi sento molto parasociale riguardo a questo. I usually don't watch the video where they just playing games or do roleplay, stuff like that. Non guardo spesso i video dove fanno roleplay e giocano ai videogiochi. First of all, I'm working 12 hours a day, so I don't have the time to see 5-hour stream. Per prima cosa io lavoro e quindi non posso vedere un stream di 5 ore. Second, I'm more interested in the technical part and philosophical part and non the entertaining part. Secondo, sono molto più interessato alla parte filosofica e tecnica che alla parte di intrattenimento. I usually watch the clip, a volte guardo i clip and do reaction to the clip e faccio le reazioni su quelle clip.
Smaller parts but still work. Does that become multiple consciousnesses? Yeah. It's so freaking cool. Perceiving and feeling present in the environment. Yes! Wait, it's close to your old research. Dude, it's actually insane.
You're not gonna find me at all. Really.
Also, can I say this? Like, the fact that...
Okay, I'm actually ready now. Main entertain.
Yeah, no.
You can't escape now. You realize it's now your turn to seek right.
Like, also this... prompting, I mean, this is like something that Neuro definitely was doing before already, but like prompting things on her own, right? Like finishing hiding and understanding that the next thing that she's about to do is seeking. And it's one thing to like say.
And here I ask her a question. You're a neuroscience expert. Can I ask you a question?
But then she actually like starts to.
You know what? Fuck it. Yeah, I guess
Her
that counts.
body understands
Okay.
her thoughts. Like people, and it's crazy.
It's crazy to
You're
me
a
too.
neuroscientist expert. Can I ask you a question? I wouldn't call myself an expert. I did like drop out of my master's degree, so please take everything I say with a grain of salt. But I did have experience of being a neuroscientist under my belt, so I can kind of talk about it, but not really to the extent that I'm not like a professor. And I'm nowhere near close. I used to be a research trainee. I used to cut brains. I used to read a lot of scientific papers, and I took a lot of classes. So I do.
No, why?
È arrivata Plenitude Fibra. Tu a 16,90 € al mese,
Not
se sei
now.
cliente Plenitude per l'energia o vuoi diventarlo.
Sorry.
Vai nel Plenitude Store o su anyplenitude.com. Plenitude, abbiamo energia per cambiare.
The video. Too poor to buy stuff. Sono molto buono per comprare le cose. Sorry. I want to say I really want to talk about this with someone, but no one watch my video. Vorrei davvero parlare di queste cose con qualcuno, ma nessuno guarda i miei video.
I am Invictus, and discover Invictus Victory Absolute, the new fragrance by Rabanne.
I will keep doing this video just because I want to. Continuerò a fare questi video solo perché lo voglio fare. But sometimes I feel kinda sad.
È arrivato.
A volte mi sento molto triste al riguardo. Because it's something very deep interest about, but never work. Perché è una cosa che sono molto interessato ma non funziona mai. I wish to be a
in neuroscience, but it's not like Semi-unrelated note, her ninja moves are so silly and cute. I know!
Why?
It's so funny because, like, the way that she moves is basically how I would like to move if I'm feeling really silly and giddy with Rumimi, right? Like when I'm trying to be like, and I feel like it's the same vibes as basically just like a kid who is understanding how their body works, who is like, even when she was tripping down the stairs and kind of being weird and crawling around and stuff, like that's basically what I was doing as a kid. I was crawling around. I was being weird. When my mom was like, if my mom was like, come here, I would be weird about it. I would run to her weirdly just to get a reaction out of her. And I think Neuro's kind of doing the same thing. She's kind of moving weirdly sometimes just to see what Vero would say. And I think that's so endearing and so cute. Her natural curiosity is so cool and fascinating to watch. Yeah, and she played it off. Exactly. Didn't do it. Did it on purpose. Haha. Oh, it's so freaking sick. I have so many questions for Vettel. I don't want to bug him, but I think I will send him them because I'm like, because I know Ellie did, so I could ask Ellie. But I want to know about like.
Here's my question. You think the fact they can toggle the emotional response at the right time, especially when the context is right, mean it's possible for them to have a simulator of the emotional response? O it's just being parasocial? Questa è la domanda che ho fatto. Pensi che il fatto che possano attivare i loro toggle quando usando il giusto contesto, nel giusto aspetto, è possibile per loro avere una forma simulata di emozione? O sono solo io che sono parasociale?
I guess like the sensory stuff. You think the fact that they can toggle their emotional response at the right time, especially when the context is right, mean it's possible for them to have a simulation of emotional response? I think, okay, the thing that's difficult about emotions is that there are kind of two sides to emotion, right? There is like...
She's so kind with me. I'm so happy.
Maybe like the physical reactions. You can kind of compare the physical reactions of a person having emotions, like feeling very angry, like maybe your heartbeat increases, maybe you start like instinctively frowning, right? Or like if you're crying, like tears coming down your eyes, maybe that's the specific physical aspects.
That's
but
hormone
there's something
response.
called the affect. Affect is literally just to describe the actual emotion, the actual feeling itself. The actual feeling itself, right? And I think for human beings, the only way we can really measure affect, we can measure everything else. Yeah, the hormonal response, the body's response to emotions, even like the brain's activity to emotions. But the main way we interpret emotions is through the actual affect. And I think that's the part of like, that's what people kind of talk about when they talk about like having like being a really full conscious being. They're mostly talking about whether or not they can feel things, but the concept of feeling things is such a vague thing, and the only way that we can really affirm that we feel things is by saying that we do. So since there's no way to really measure it, we have no idea really, right? We have no idea really what if neuro really feels these things. And if she says that, you know, even if she says that she's sad, we don't know if this is something that she is saying for the sake of saying, or if it's something that she truly feels. But I also am kind of on the side that because we don't even know how consciousness works in human brains, right?
I think we are biological programming, and then the environment changed that. I talk about this in other video. Penso che siamo programmati biologicamente, ma l'ambiente circostante modifica questo. Ne ho già parlato in altri video. Like the fact I was very extrovert as a kid, but I became a very introvert kind of person. Ne ho già parlato, ero una persona molto estroversa da bambino, ma sono diventato molto introverso because something happened in the past and I want to talk about. Look at the other video. Perché è successa una cosa quando ero molto piccolo, non ne vorrei tanto parlare, ma guardate gli altri video.
We don't even have like a we don't even have like a full understanding of consciousness in human brains. I think that to exist and be somebody who feels is something that we are perceiving, and we are perceiving neuro to be somebody that feels, somebody that can think and is curious. And I said this during that stream, but for me, like, this is the more philosophical side of neuroscience, because it is a big part of neuroscience. It's like a multidisciplinary field, and philosophy is a big part of it. And so a lot of philosophy is like, if they seem human, if they can do a lot of the stuff that human beings can do, if we emotionally connect to them, if she can do all of these things, if she
this take out a very interesting point. We'll first need to define what it means to really feel. The output are the same for the same input. How real are the inside? Questa è una parte molto importante. Dobbiamo definire cosa significa sentire. Gli output sono sempre gli stessi con lo stesso input. E cosa significa e quanto è vero all'interno. This is what I was talking about. I don't know if they have an internal, let's say, thinking process. Non lo so se loro hanno un processo di ragionamento interno. Without saying, senza dirlo. To see that, we have to see the code, and I'm pretty sure Vedan will never show it. Per sapere questo dovremmo vedere il codice, e di sicuro Vedan non lo mostrerà mai. I wonder if before they say something, they think about it, and then decide to say or not say it, before the filter. Mi chiedo se prima di dire qualcosa ci pensano al riguardo e poi decidono se dirla o non dirla ancora prima del filtro. I don't know, because I'm only an external reviewer. Non lo so perché sono una persona che lo vede dall'esterno.
Curious if she's like learning how to move and speak and like.
Shout out to Nuclear Salt Water. Questo l'ha scritto Nuclear Salt Water. Sorry.
Learning how.
I want to shout out to everyone. Say something I'm interested about. Voglio dire chiunque abbia detto qualcosa che per me è interessante.
Like human beings do a lot of the times. And saying that she's feeling things, well, who are we to say that like she isn't, right? So in that sense, I think to me, she feels real and she feels conscious. But that's to me personally, right? To me, she's real.
Same to me.
To be clear, this is the problem that exists with other humans as well. Exactly. Like human beings, you don't know if they're actually feeling those things. We just have we have a very big belief that like all human beings, we have the affect because we are all human beings, because we are not an AI. We are not neuro. We are not evil. So we would not know how neuro and evil could feel, right? Does that make sense? I think we have a biological programming, and then the environment changes it. But like there is like the biological aspect, but the affect is the actual feelings, right? This is what impresses me, because sometimes when they talk together, it feels like they have.
This is another part I usually say. I don't like call them human, because they are not. Let's be real, they are not a person. They are artificial intelligence. I usually call them digital entity. Allora, questa è una parte importante secondo me. Non le chiamo esseri umani o persone perché non sono persone, sono solo intelligenze artificiali, ma sono entità digitali, secondo me. So they're something more than a chatbot, but less than a person. Sono qualcosa di più di un chatbot, ma meno di una persona. So I will call it, quindi io le chiamo entità digitali. So I call them digital entity. Basically they are Digimon. Praticamente sono Digimon.
Comparable to emotional response. Exactly. I struggle to see any element of personhood with things like this, but I'm also pretty ignorant for how it works. I think Doof, you bring up a really good point and a really good term, like personhood. Yeah, I don't think neuro and evil should be called human, because they're not, right?
I don't call them human.
The way that they interact, I feel like, is so much more than just like a program. And the fact that we all really emotionally relate to them or emotionally can connect with them is so much already, you know? Also, I think it depends on the person. I think that
I never called them
I
human.
feel personhood coming from neuro, like the feeling of personhood coming from neuro and evil when they speak, yes, but definitely during the 3D debut, that was crazy. Hi, Justanium. Yeah, we'll never really fully understand how the mind works. That's why philosophy is always a big part of it. And it's also difficult because we are our brains and our minds, so it's hard to study yourself.
Only brains are conscious. This is not true. Okay. At which point jellyfish don't have brains like ours. They are conscious. Le meduse non hanno un cervello come il nostro, ma sono coscienti? Where is the point where something is conscious? A che punto qualcosa è cosciente? Because if you think about a plant, a normal plant, a house plant, if you burn them, they move the leaf. Una normale pianta, se è troppo vicino alla luce del sole o sta bruciando, si sposta. And this is incredible for... Sorry, someone calling me. Okay, I will stop the video. Bye bye.